Yo! Today's encouragement is how many times my high school soccer coach, who I love and respect deeply, one of his isms that has, and probably everybody who's played for him has heard, is to yell across the field of the referees, "How many times?" After a foul or usually after a foul. How many times? Nothing usually happens after that, but it's enjoyable to hear. I hear this a lot I hear this a lot in my house. How many times do I have to ask you to clean your room? How many times have I told you to not leave your wet towels on the floor? Both real things in my house. I hear this with business owners that I work with. I don't know how many times I have to tell them, or I don't know how many times I've said A, B, and C. How many times do I have to, make this comment about the standard or repeat this thing that we believe in? How many times? They're asking me sort of rhetorically, but recently I have been a little more bold in actually answering this question that in which they probably weren't looking for an answer, at least not the one that I provide. And the answer that I've come up with, and this I say that jokingly, this is the answer for me too with my kids. This is the answer for me as a business owner myself. It doesn't really work with a referee example. But the answer, if we're honest, is how important is this to you? The answer might be however many times that it takes. The answer might be ongoing. The answer could be forever. And you might say, well, if it's forever, then we haven't done a good enough job because our kid shouldn't keep leaving the towel on the floor. The point is that we have to, if it matters, we have to hold the standard. And then you have some choices to make. You kick your kid out, you punish them, do you fire the employee? All those things are choices, and if you listen for any amount of time, you know how I feel about choices. But when it comes to us, and the question really is, how many times do I have to hold the standard? The answer to me is as long as the standard is important. And what you might like to have happen is your kid quit leaving their food in their room, and hopefully it does. But if we're sort of living in a black and white world, which I recognize that we don't, but if we're cutting it down to black and white, it's like I can keep holding the standard, I can stop holding the standard and let them do what they want, or I can get rid of the problem one way or the other, which would be drop the standard or get rid of the person who's not holding the standard and try again with someone new. Spoiler alert, there's probably going to be some piece of standard that you got to hold with them too. And if it's your kid, you probably can't get rid of them. So we have to, my opinion, the answer to how many times is whatever it takes. Is how important is this to you? Oh, very well. Then the answer is more times. So this may not sound very encouraging, but I think it's the truth. And I think the truth is encouraging. The encouragement then is to decide if this standard is truly important to you. And if it is, to make a decision that you're going to continue to hold the standard. Maybe try a different way. Maybe try a different approach, a different language. Maybe you start instituting harsher punishment if that's your thing, depending on the environment. But I think the answer to this question, how many times, at least when it comes to our standard, is more. Because it matters to us. And I could provide more detail on this in another encouragement. But ultimately, it doesn't always have to be like a punishment or an argument. It could be reinforcement, right? And we have to continue to reinforce the standard, over communicate the standard, over communicate clarity of the things that matter to us. We could do it in different ways. We could do it with visuals, with words, with sayings and meetings, with encouragement, with correction, a bunch of different ways. But how many times? A lot more, continuously, ongoing. Hold the standard, over communicate the standard, repeat the standard, support the standard. As always, I'm pulling for you. Look forward to talking to you next time.